morning, viewers. This is Fred Mwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with the premiere edition of the 2023 version of Bold Talk on Allen TV. In this episode, we're bringing you the US-Uganda summit that held in Chicago from December 16 to December 17, 2022. It is with a lot of pride that we say that Allen TV was the only local news that was allowed to cover the event, and for that we say thank you to the chairman of the Africa Global Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Olivier Kemanze, who gave us the honor of covering that event. And in doing so, we collaborated with Isabella Tugume, who was a news reporter from NBS TV in Uganda. We also want to say a big thank you to Ambassador Robbie Kakonge, who was very, very generous with her time and made us very comfortable at the event. The president of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni, spoke very eloquently and very vehemently as he sold the African point of view to the Americans present. And anybody who is watching this episode today needs to take time and wait towards the end to listen to the segment of President Museveni's speech that I kind of thought was very, very apropos for this event. The mission here was to raise over the next 6 years, $6 billion of foreign US investment to come into Uganda. And as they noted, the Ugandan economy over the last 30 years has been growing at a pace of 6% every year. The main focus here was agriculture and tourism. And quite a few farmers from Uganda were at the event and talking with American investors, and a few agreements were signed right there. The other focus of the event was tourism. Uganda is now peaked to move its tourism business from where it is today to compete directly with the Kenyan tourism business, which is worldwide renowned. And Uganda has the scenery to do that. It's a matter of focusing on it, and I really believe they can do it. I'm very happy to say I was very happy to be at this event, and you just need to sit back and enjoy this episode. Try to cut it under 20, but we're just gonna keep it under 30. Every second of the 30 minutes is worth watching. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Market opportunities for Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Do you believe America has a number of opportunities for Uganda's private sector? They are available for you to tap into. In this edition of Business Perspective, I tell you how to break into the US market and what are some of the aspects you have to fix to break even in this market. Welcome to Business Perspective. I am Isabella Tugume here in Chicago, Illinois, the United States of America.
This is Isabella. She's with NBS TV in Uganda. This is Dr. Ewa. He's one of Chicago's highest ranking Africans that works for the state and the city. He's been with the state, he's been with the city and all that. And Isabella is more or less the person we're following. We're here to work for her.
I went to a recent appointment
kindly tell us how is the Ugandan business community going to benefit from the partnership adjustment?
To launch the business between US and the Uganda is something really we are happy of. What we have accomplished today was, number one, making sure we connect Ugandan business community to the US business community, and then signing the MOU, establishing Africa Global Chamber of Commerce as a trade representative of Uganda in the Midwest region of the United States of America.
And I'll take the other side of it. And what I'm going to ask applies to you and Dr. Ewa. I'm Fred Nwankwo, as you know. I'm with Allen Magazine here in Chicago. This organization has come a very long way. I know when you started. I know how you guys collaborated. Tell me about the organization and tell me the challenges you've had along the way to bring it to the point it is right now.
Thank you so much. These men, we have known each other for the last 20, maybe more years. We came together, we found this Africa Global Chamber of Commerce because we had the same vision. We believed in we African immigrants, we need to be successful in this country. We launched this chamber. We are co-founder of Africa Global Chamber of Commerce. We started this together, we continue together. There's a testimony. He came here to continue to support effort. He has given enough for the community, African immigrant community enough, but he did not get enough credit. Brother Dr. Ewa, I said that the African stands behind you.
Okay. Dr. Ewa, like Mr. Kamanzi just said,
Chairman.
You were here, the chairman of the organization. You were here when it started. And as you can see, Mr. Kamanzi, with you working with him, has really grown this organization.
Yes.
And it's like a rainbow coalition of Africans. It's good for Africa, not for Mr. Kamanzi. How do you now bridge Nigerians back into it, because he has set the pace, and then bridge them back in so that the collaboration will even get wider?
This is, I mean, look, Kamazi has been with me for more than 20-something years. The good thing about him is that he is a dedicated, passionate individual about trade in Africa. So what we need to do right now, today we are doing with Uganda. We are going to go ahead after the Nigerian election. We want to utilize the African Global Chamber of Commerce as a conduit for business development in Africa as a whole. From Nigeria, we go to Ghana. From Ghana, we go to Rwanda, and so on and so forth, based upon the schedule. Today, we are going to expand, integrate, and make sure that there is representation within the board of directors, within the Economic Development Council of AGCC, that yes, nobody is left out.
Therefore, there is an opportunity where His Excellency the President has cleared the private sector to create a fund which is called an export credit fund. The private sector will put in money, government will put in money, but most importantly, the venture capital funds of the United States have an opportunity now to put in money, and they will be earning on the investment, they will be earning on the interest.
Hello, how are you today?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
What brings you here today?
Roberta? Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Nakimra. The tour management company that I work for, called Insider Expedition, is working on some really exciting trips with the Martin Luther King Jr. family in 2023. One of which we are taking a group of people to Uganda, 100 people to Uganda, and we're doing a pre-trip in DC, February 17th to the 20th, President's Day weekend, which is also really exciting. We're going to be touring different landmarks that kind of embody the vision of Martin Luther King Jr. and just kind of figuring out how we can carry the torch and keep his vision going on.
Perfect. So, coming here today, what did you expect to achieve by being part of this event?
Well, unfortunately, I've never actually been to Uganda as much as I would love to go. So it's just really interesting meeting the head of state and meeting various people who do work in Uganda who are just visiting Chicago, getting to see the trades and the goods that they are making, meeting people that we can work with in Uganda when we take the King family and the guests over there.
There are about 55 countries in Africa. Why did you pick Uganda? Uganda is a great place, I'm just asking.
It is a beautiful country. There's gorilla trekking, there's beautiful mountains. The only reason why we chose Uganda this time around is because we kind of know a few people there already, but honestly this is just a start. We're going to Uganda as the first trip, but we're hoping to expand and go to more African countries.
Perfect. Well, people like you are the reason we came here today to cover, because we wanted to get a diverse coverage of what's going on here, what this event is all about, and how we could promote collaboration between Africans. And when we talk about Africans, we include African Americans, Caribbean Africans. If you notice, our magazine is called ALEN. ALEN actually is not a name, it's acronym for African Life, Entertainment and News. And so I'm very glad to talk to you. What's your name again?
My name is Nikimara Moore.
Nikimara, it's nice meeting you, and I'll put this as part of my presentation on our YouTube channel, which is called ALEN TV. And if you go to YouTube and you put in African Viewpoints Unleashed, you'll get all the videos that we upload. And I wish you good on your trip, and I hope it will be the beginning of many more trips to Africa.
Absolutely, I'm sure.
Okay?
And looking forward to some people joining us.
Not a problem. Take care. Good talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
Bye-bye. Mrs. Muwazi?
Yeah.
Muwevi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fred Mwanko with ALEN Magazine here in Chicago.
Yes.
I was very impressed with what's gone on all day, but the question I have is from an African standpoint. Much of what we're talking about today is addressed at collaboration with the United States. What's Uganda also doing to equally create the same collaboration across the African continent, so that within the continent we could take advantage of these opportunities? That's one part. The other part is, what has Uganda done to build the structures that will make it enabling when these people come in and they are really interested in investing?
Thank you. I will start with your first one. In collaboration, as far as Africa is concerned, Uganda is part of the East African community. That includes Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Democratic Republic of Congo, the Sudan. So that whole region of East Africa, as you heard the president say, it's a big market, 300 million people. So those are the partnerships, the collaborations. If you visit, for example, you only need one tourist visa, and it will take you through the East African countries.
Excellent.
You know, and open borders for the people that to be able to trade together.
Very good.
And then he talked on a larger scale. There's the continental free trade area, where African countries are saying, even when we were here negotiating for the extension of AGOA, we were in the same room as trade ministers talking, yes, AGOA is meant for the sub-Saharan Africa, but we want it to be for the entire Africa through the continental free trade area, because it's a bigger market, and the more we work together, the more we are able to manage the volumes that American market needs.
Yes.
That's one. As far as when you come to invest in Uganda, we have a good investment regime. You can come to Uganda, you invest. One, you can take out your money that you have made. As long as you paid your taxes, all the profits as yours and you can take them out. You get tax holidays if you invest a certain amount of money in your business. As a foreign investor, you are guaranteed security. If you can be in the tribunal if there is any misunderstandings. All those are areas that actually attract foreign investments.
Very good. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You.
I know I met you earlier, but now you gave me an opportunity to see why you are a special assistant to the president.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
The money that we make, the profits that we make here on the U.S. side, it's still Ugandan. It's a Ugandan-owned business, and so everything is going back to Uganda.
What are some of the issues do you believe Uganda should address before they can fully maximize their export revenue to $6 billion in 2027?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that people are having is access to capital in order to scale. So I know there are a lot of different entities in Uganda that are working on those things, but it's still a big bottleneck. It's a bottleneck for our company, and it's a bottleneck for many others as well. I think we also have to be looking at sustainability of the products that we're producing as well, because for us in the coffee industry, we're dealing in fine Arabica coffee. Experts believe that by 2050, half of all coffee lands will no longer be suitable for growing coffee, so we have to take that very seriously. If we're not being sustainable in our approach environmentally, then it's also not a sustainable future for the farmers who are producing that coffee. We need to be thinking about all of that.
And finally, as someone who is an exporter of Ugandan products to the US, what are some of the things one requires so that they too can tap into the US market?
So accessing the United States market is a complicated process. It does involve being FDA certified in your facilities, both in Uganda, and if you do, like us, we have facilities in the United States as well. So those have to be FDA certified, and that can be a bit of a process. We also have export licenses and things that we need to deal with. But generally speaking, I think one of the biggest challenges that I see is people will bring items, maybe they'll bring a container of coffee and they'll have it here and then they'll look for a buyer instead of finding first the buyer and then bringing the product. So I think you've got to work a lot harder on that marketing side of things. For us, we focus on the highest margin profitability basically for our product, which is coffee. And if I was advising somebody it was in vanilla or in cocoa or something like that, I'd tell them the same thing. I would say, look at the highest profit margin sector, part of the industry, and aim for that. Get to know those buyers, and then there's more profitability, not only for you at the end of at your point of sale, but also for the producers and everybody up and down that value chain, right? So the U.S. market really wants high quality. They really want the narrative of sustainability, of social impact. These things are very saleable in the United States. So I would encourage people to be working on that. How are you practicing regenerative agriculture? Are you what is the sustainability of your practice for the farmer, for the lands? What kind of impact are you making on people's lives? All of this can be a part of a narrative. If you have a good quality product, it will put you in first place because you have that narrative of transformation that goes along with it.
Mr. President, allow me to introduce the representative of the state government, Donna Miller, who is seated on the podium. She's the commissioner for Cook County, 6th District. Yeah, we're happy she's here.
As you see around this room, we have several products. The 26 companies that were introduced by Perseid here are actually introducing 13 products to you that want to come and break into the US market. And we are confident that these products are ready to come on your US shelves.
From 1472, when the first Portuguese arrived in West Africa, for almost 300 years, slaves were being taken out of Africa. and that was destabilizing society. Then colonialism came. But along the way, starting with 1912 in South Africa, where the African National Congress was formed, the African resistance grew, and by 1994, all colonialists in Africa had been expelled. So Africa is now free. But apart from expelling the colonialists, we have also to deal with the consequences of that colonialism. The consequences were a number of them, but one of them was the fragmentation of the African market. Africa is a huge continent, population is big, is growing, but that market was fragmented into 54 countries. And Uganda is one of them. Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, 54 of them. Some of them small. Therefore, if we are not careful, we could build a Latin America in Africa. That continent is very rich in terms of natural resources. They have a lot of minerals, but people are very poor. They have a lot of problems. Why? And yet neighboring USA is very prosperous. So where did the difference come from? How can it be that the United States is prosperous, Latin America is in misery in spite of all those natural resources? It is to do with organization, the way they are organized. The 13 American colonies, when they got independence in 1776, they united, the 13 colonies. And they kept on growing. I think now we have 50 of those countries or states together. Now that created a huge market for business people. How can I produce and sell to 300 million people who have money in their pocket and fail to be rich? But if you are in Nicaragua or El Salvador, you produce, you see that it's so easy. Now Africa was in danger of becoming like Latin America. Rich, but disorganized, and therefore poor. But fortunately, our leaders started seeing this point, and in 1980, they met in Lagos and decided to unify the African market, integrate the African market, so that it is easier for business people to sell. And they formed what they call the Lagos Plan of Action, and where they formed 4 regional trading blocks, COMESA, ECOWAS, and so on. Then in 1991, we met in Abuja, and we formed what we call now the CFTA, Continental Free Trade Area. So therefore, not only have we got freedom, but we have also got the wisdom to know that a unified market is better for business than a fragmented market. So therefore, when we invite you, when you come here, when I fly for so many hours to come here, I'm coming here to tell you something that I know is good for you. I'm telling you that if you come and you invest in Uganda, you will have the market of the 43 million people of Uganda. Then you have the market of the 300 million people of East Africa, of the East African community. Then you have the market of the 1.4 billion people of the whole of Africa, which will be 2.5 billion in the next 30 years. To be the biggest. We have also negotiated with the Americans, with President Bill Clinton, initially, for the AGOA. So if you invest in Uganda, you can export back to the US 6,500 products which you should have in the list of those products which will enter the USA market quota-free, tax-free. 6,500 products when I last checked. So there is the market of Africa, there is the market of the US, if you have invested in Africa.
How much I can thank you really for giving more than 48 hours to Uganda. You haven't given this to an individual or even the president who was here. You've given these 48 hours to humanity. Because whenever we can connect people to create businesses or expand production, we have given them wealth. When you give people an income, you've given them hope, you've given them time to think more beyond food. Cody, I want to thank you very, very much for sending us the coffee to DC, to the embassy. Ambassador Robbie, please don't drink Nescafe, don't allow Nescafe. I'm not saying that because you have Nescafe, but in our government offices, people have Nido. Is it Nido? I don't even want to pronounce the names because I produce milk. Tins of Nido and tins of Nescafe. This man has, how many outlets in Uganda?
We're 16 in Uganda.
16. Is Gloria here?
Yeah.
Gloria, how many are there? I should ask you.
She always undercounts them.
They are 15.
15. So, Ambassador Robbie will close our summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again. It is beyond belief that this journey has started and that it started now, and it has started in earnest. I want to once again thank the President, His Excellency, for appointing me as the ambassador. I am here, I am at your service. Public service, we are here to serve you. So we are at your service 24/7. Thank you, Mr. Odrick, for being consistent and persistent in what you do and giving a sense of direction and mapping things out. I have a very small team at the embassy, 5 at the most. America's 400 million people. I'm also the ambassador for Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Mexico, Costa Rica, Argentina, Brazil, Venezuela. My counterpart, Ambassador Brown, our population is 45 million. She, at any given time, she has 800 people to assist her. So, it is a daunting task, but we've been there before. We've had 27 guns, and we know how that worked out. So what are we going to do? We are going to leverage digital and commercial diplomacy. Because we have a website, which I'd really like to close down within the next, if I could close it down today, I would. Yes. Because that website should be our gateway. Yes. I want a store. When you talk about a catalog, I want a virtual catalog on that website. Yes. You've got to go back home at some point. So someone was talking about real estate. Why not build now? Why not build now? Why have a Ugandan diaspora village? Kenya has one. Nigeria has one. You come to us and we help you. That is what we're here to do. Not the other way around. You should not be looking for us. If you're looking for us, there's a problem.
Uganda, like any other country, has a number of products that have the potential to generate billions of dollars in export revenue to the United States. Unfortunately, only 58.39 million fetched in export revenue in the year 2020. To increase revenue, a deliberate effort is required, which is why the US-Uganda Forum was critical, and delegates from the private sector, among others, transcended to the US to understand this market. A call was made by the president on increasing the export, but also investing in Uganda. But what more needs to be done to increase the number? The Minister of Trade, Fred Mwebesa, says Uganda is ready to take advantage of the new acquired partnerships. It's been a year filled with opportunities and challenges, but let's hope for a better 2023. Good night, God bless. Live from Chicago, I am Isabella.
Uganda!
Uganda!